So Kevin Durant decided to get in on the fun with the conversations around the All-Star weekend where he said, I think it's more fun to complain about the NBA than to actually watch it. Crazy. Cancel All-Star weekend and let's just give everybody a break since we're so miserable around this time. Now, I appreciate the honesty from Kevin Durant. Some of the complaints from the fans this weekend was about the advertising going on. There wasn't as much basketball being played. They said the game would start at 8 o'clock. We had to wait till 8:40 for games to begin. And then when the game started, they went to commercials. It took a long time to get back to the game. And I think a total of 42 minutes was played of basketball games. Not a good look, especially if it's a 3 hour show. You're showing ads, you have your breaks. Even in the final game, it was 11-1. They spent 30 minutes praising the TNT guys for the last All Star broadcast. And I get that, but it was dragged out, in my opinion. Now, another issue I have with this statement. Now, I love Kevin Durant. He's my third favorite player ever. I still have to be objective. You are trying to market a product. And when your customers are buying it, they are going to give you feedback. That is how business works. And it seems to me like Kevin Durant is saying, I can do whatever I want, and it's a privilege to watch me play basketball. You don't have the right to just tune in and give your feedback whenever you want. Now, there is good criticism and there's bad criticism. But at the end of the day, you are going to receive feedback whether you like it or not. So it's always very important to listen to your audience, because if your audience is telling you, hey, the product I'm buying from you, it's great, but lately it hasn't been up to par, or I want to see this change happen. You should listen to that, because if you dismiss your fan base and you act like they're not important, well, guess what? They're going to go somewhere else. So if you continue down this pathway where you're like, let's not care about the All Star weekend, well, guess what? The fans aren't going to care either. They're going to move on and find something else. And if you push this idea to the younger players, they look up to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's a hooper. I know he's not the best leader. He doesn't want to be a leader. But at the end of the day, he's a pioneer in the NBA. And we saw what Draymond Green had to say about, well, we have the rising stars playing on Sunday night. And I get where he's coming from. However, you should have also addressed the elephant in the room. The reason why we got to this point was because players were jacking up threes, not playing defense, and really giving no effort during the All-Star game. We're not saying as fans that you have to go all in, treat it like an NBA playoffs game. No, we're not suggesting that. But show some type of pride, show that you care about your product. Because when it comes across as lollygagging, we're just here because we have to be, and not that we want to be, because you have fans who paid their hard-earned money to watch you play and you don't give any type of effort. That's a slap in the face of the fans. That's a slap in the face of the NBA. Now, I want to go ahead and play the clip for what Stephen A. Smith had to say about the situation, and I'll come back and give you more of my thoughts.
He basically said to the world he doesn't give a. That's what he said. I mean, really, don't watch. Why don't we just do away with it, etc. That's the kind of thing that he alluded to. At least he's honest. Give him credit for that. I think that it's amazing to me that because this is the association with greatness, because Kevin Durant obviously is great. Because you're great, your mentality is it's a privilege to watch you. But you're not taking into account the totality, the body that exists, that is the NBA. There are far too many stars, and I'm talking about the stars because those who are mid-level players and average players or beyond, they're trying to get this. But the stars who are getting paid major paper on far too many occasions have given the proverbial fan base, and of course the media, because they always blame the media, the middle finger. That's what they've done. And so this is just the latest example of Kevin Durant doing exactly that. He's basically saying, hey, you know what? Go ahead, do away. It's not going to affect his paper. It's not going to affect his bottom line. It's not going to affect his quality of life, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not surprised. I'm not even disappointed. I'm not going to give him, nor anybody that thinks like him, just the courtesy of reacting the way that they may want folks to do so. I'm not losing any damn sleep over not watching a bunch of dudes who don't care. I could give less than about All-Star Weekend. I care a lot about the NBA season, particularly this time of year, because I know brothers are going to show up and they're going to show us what they bring to the table in an effort to win a championship. But as it pertains specifically to NBA All-Star Weekend, they have snubbed their nose at the fans. They have snubbed their nose at the league. And what they have done is said that all of y'all, we're going to do what we want to do, to the point where it provoked the league to implement changes where you got rookie all-stars playing on a Sunday night on All-Star Weekend, contributing to the main event, and you got a four-time champion in Draymond Green saying it's a joke, it's not basketball, it's a disgrace, and he was absolutely right. He just left out the part of who was culpable for it, and that was the players themselves. And think about it, guys. Last point, UD, Shane, all we're talking about was effort. All we're talking about is effort. And Kevin Durant will come out with a statement like that when all anybody was saying was, could you show that you actually care come All-Star Weekend? Could you actually show that you care? And that's the reason for the vitriol he aimed in other folks' direction. Very, very typical, unsurprising. But if he doesn't give, why should the rest of us?
Stephen A. Smith hit it right on the money. The players just don't care. They don't want to show effort. And when your fans, again, are just asking for something, again, feedback, they're giving you something to work on, and you dismiss it. That is not a good business move. The players are here to entertain, they're athletes. That is their role when you're playing basketball. And when you're not fulfilling that particular role, well, the fans are going to turn you off. Now, if I'm the NBA commissioner and I'm looking at this from a marketing perspective, they need to distance themselves from LeBron, Curry, and KD. Look, they've been pioneers in this game. They have helped carry the NBA. However, we have to transition from the old heads and start embracing guys like Victor Wembanyama, SGA, Anthony Edwards, Luka Doncic, who now plays for the Los Angeles Lakers, Jason Tatum. I know he's not always trying to market himself, but he's still part of that conversation. Chet Holmgren, Paulo Banchero. There's a lot of young talent in the NBA that the NBA needs to focus their attention on. Because if KD is going to say these things and not care, then shift the energy to somebody else, like a Victor Wembanyama, who was showing effort, who had pride when he was playing out there. Of course, he didn't always give full effort, but you appreciate what he was saying to the guys, how he was fired up, how he was excited to be a first-time All-Star player. That's what we want to see as fans. So if I'm the NBA, I need to transition. When we have the Christmas games next year, you got to show OKC. No more excuses. You got to show the Cleveland Cavaliers because they're playing great basketball, and I expect them to be really good next season as well. You got to show love to the Houston Rockets, to the Memphis Grizzlies of the world, because we still have a guy in John Morant. When he's healthy, he's box office and he's electrifying. We don't need to show guys like Steph Curry and Kevin Durant because they're going to struggle to get in the playoffs and probably get bounced in the first round. LeBron James and Luka might make it to the second round, but at the end of the day, those are not your future faces of the league. Now, you should push Luka because he's on the Lakers. And of course, when you're playing for the Lakers, you should give that plenty of attention. That's a smart marketing move. You should also showcase what's happening with SGA and OKC, how he's probably going to win MVP. You should talk about the success of the Cleveland Cavaliers. You should talk about Amen Thompson, what he's doing. I'm not saying he's a superstar, but you see the potential. You see Sengun. You see what Ime Udoka is doing with the Houston Rockets. We know about John Morant. We know that Jason Tatum's won a championship. We're just waiting for him to be that number one option who's going to score an average 25, 30 points in the NBA Finals. We should be pushing these narratives more often. Because if guys like Kevin Durant's not going to care, if guys like LeBron James is going to give the NBA an hour or two notice before the game that he's not suiting up, if we have a guy like Anthony Edwards not playing, and the report was for Anthony Edwards that if the warm-up was longer, the pregame warm-up, he would have participated. Not a good look. If guys are not going to care, then fans are not going to care. Look, I love what Giannis Antetokounmpo did. He gave the NBA enough notice so Trae Young could get an opportunity. That's how it should be because Giannis cares about the product. He was at the All-Star game. I'm going to show him plenty of love because Giannis is very good for the NBA. He wants to compete. He doesn't want an easy way out. I love that about Giannis. So when we have guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo who care about the NBA and respect the product, push those guys forward. I forgot about Giannis. He should be in these conversations as well because of his accolades and what he has accomplished. He's just in a bad situation with Milwaukee. So I do think the NBA needs to fully transition from the 2000s and 2010s era. And I think that will help the NBA get better and just focus on guys who are playing basketball. Look, I know Anthony Edwards did miss Sunday. He does play a lot of basketball games. He rarely misses stuff, but I don't think that was the best look. I think you could have let the NBA know, hey, I'm not playing. and we need a replacement. That would have been a good thing. And then you have guys like Tatum, who's always playing. SGA doesn't miss games. Luca doesn't always miss games either. I know he's had his injuries, but when he's healthy, he's not sitting out games. Of course, Victor Wembanyama, he gets low managed in San Antonio, but he doesn't just sit out just to sit out. He wants to play basketball. So focus on these guys who want to hoop, who want to push the product forward, and just forget about LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry. Now, I know that Steph likes to play, but he's part of their generation. And since the Warriors aren't going to be championship contenders or probably won't make a deep playoff run, let's move on and make the product better because fans do care. And we don't need guys like Kevin Durant saying, forget about it. And then when you lose your audience, now you have to win their trust back. Not the best marketing tactic, in my opinion. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what Stephen A. Smith had to say about Kevin Durant. And do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you in the next one.